Hello, hello. Welcome to another one of our Optimum chats, where we have discussions with members of the Optimum team, sometimes folks from the outside, advisors, partners, and so on. My name's Muriel Médard. I'm co-founder, CEO, and I'm really happy today to be joined by Sajida. Sajida, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. So I'm Sajida Zouarhi. I work at Optimum as Chief Product Officer. Been in the Web3 space for the last 10 years, from working on the merge at Consensus or more recently MEV and block building at Block Native. Very much looking forward to this conversation.
Yes, thank you so much. And today's topic is Flexnodes. What are they? What do they do? What is the future? How do they fit into the whole Optimum story? And that's our discussion today. So maybe we can start a little bit with the Optimum network, and our first product, basically data acceleration network. So, just to give a little bit of background again, particularly for people who might be new to Optimum, what we're doing is this data acceleration network that accelerates data propagation to start with. We use our technology, random linear network coding, of which I'm co-inventor, developed in my lab at MIT, where I've been working in this area for many, many years as a professor, and now doing the tech transfer with Optimum. And I wanted to hear from you, Sajida, as somebody who's really focused on product, somebody who has so much background, perspective, expertise in Web3, how you describe the Optimum network.
Right. Thanks, Muriel. So I think Optimum network is a bit a hybrid because it's mostly like a performance layer that connects several chains and actors of those chains in order to grant them better performance, faster access to data, and some more features that they might need, such as data availability. And so in that way, it's like a connective tissue between several blockchains without being one in itself. And so I think for a Web3 project, that's kind of an interesting positioning. What is also interesting is that it does have some blockchain properties because we do have notions of consensus and some security principles that we are enforcing at the level of the Optimum network, and also are used for some other things that we're going to do down the line, such as decentralized memory. So from a technological perspective, but also economical perspective, it is a very interesting product that bridges those two worlds, from the infra networking side to the blockchain Web3 side.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you bring that for that sort of uniqueness of the fact that, we often say scale any chain. And to some extent, it's almost like Web3 is still in the sort of early time of computers, where you would have that the computer and the operating system and everything was just one monolithic product. And of course, eventually you go, hey, there's best practices that can be used across different, let's say, VMs, chains, L1s,
Right.
whatever you want to call them. And, what we're doing is really, we're doing the whole data flow, the whole data movement, which includes the propagation, the memory, etc. And as you said, on the memory, there has to be, of course, consensus. But interestingly enough, on the propagation, you can actually be very strongly resistant to Byzantine attacks or to, any sort of censorship attempts while not having consensus. So that's basically what we do, right? We do we do the data flow, the data management effectively for everybody. And then we allow these chains to do what they do best, which is be chains, rather than rather than having to manage everything end to end themselves. Um, and we mentioned a little bit how we do it. I mentioned RLNC. Um, I'd like to hear how you describe RLNC in general, Sajida. I know, I'm always interested in hearing different members of the group always have such really fantastic perspectives and very insightful ways. So I want to hear your way of
Yes,
describing it.
Muriel. I'd love to pitch RLNC to you.
Please,
um,
please pitch it to me.
so RNC is a great technique, Muriel, as you know. So the idea here is that how can you make best use of bandwidth of a node? And so RNC actually helps us do that by breaking the data into pieces and encoding it. Each node actually on the propagation path contribute to that because it actually regenerates new equations and innovative pieces. And so, what is quite robust and resilient here is that if you gather a certain number of those pieces, those shards, you are able to retrieve the original message. And so that is an interesting design, especially for distributed and decentralized network, so that any node can participate and gossip the information. And we're not relying on any source or any path for the data propagation for the message arrival and the sort of successful transmission to happen.
Wow. Okay, you sold me on it. That's a really good pitch. Yeah, and I think you brought up a very important aspect, which I had mentioned a little bit with respect to, the censorship resistance, which is basically about resilience. It is because you're not really depending on anybody, right? You have this dependence on a collective rather than a dedicated path, which actually brings us to the flex nodes, right? Because what do we
Right.
mean by not depending on anybody? It's going to the flex nodes. Um, and we get asked a lot, what do you call it, a flex node? I like to say, well, it can be big, it can be small, and it's strong, you're flexing. But this is now really when you look at it as a product. Wanted to hear what your thinking is around the flex nodes.
Yeah, for me, it's like the atom of the network. It's the basic component that creates the overall optimum network. And what is interesting is that they come in many form, whether it's in terms of resource they can contribute to the network, services they could support. We're talking about propagation today, but we intend to add more chains they could be connected to. One could be helping propagation for Ethereum, as it could be helping for another chain. And so there is a lot of versatility in a flex node and its role. But also from an audience perspective, because you could be a sophisticated node operator wanting to run a flex node, or you could be someone at home interested in participating and bringing some resources to the service of Optimum and its users with like a simple device, a laptop, maybe even a smartphone. So yeah, this is how I see the sort of like Flexnode Nebula, worldwide, completely decentralized, no single point of failure, everyone contributing and providing a service in the end to users.
I love nebula. I think we should reuse that term because it is the atoms in the nebula. I think
Right.
that's very poetic and very apt. Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I think in particular when we think of people, just regular people with just a regular computer, a regular internet connection running a flex node, the idea is also they're helping, in many cases, the local community, right? And every little bit helps. So it's not like, well, I'm running a flex node, but everybody's going to win out because there's a competition. It's not. If I only provide two equations, sure, I only get paid for two equations, but you actually get paid for what you did,
Right.
as opposed to having to be in a race with the big guys and you're never going to win.
And you're
Uh,
sort of unique as well. Like no two flex nodes are alike. If someone
that's right.
spins a flex node in a region where there is a low supply, uh, the equation that they're going to contribute from the perspective of the local peers are going to be very valuable. So everyone has this chance to meaningfully contribute to the network.
That's right. That's right. It's like your corner store. You know, they really help you out. They're right where you are, and they're giving you what you need. I completely agree, and I think you know, the other thing about Flexnodes versus, for instance, running a validator, right? A validator is big investment. You also need to have a lot of uptime, which can be really hard. Here with the Flexnode, you know, you get paid for what you do, but you don't get, you know, punished for what you didn't do.
Right.
So as long as you didn't do something wrong, you know, on purpose, in which case you get punished. So I think also from a philosophical perspective, that also goes into the flexibility, right?
Right.
It's like, it's as big as you want to be, as small as you want to be, and it's also on when you can do it. You know, it's whenever it works for you. So, yeah, that's. But I'm going to remember the nebula. I think maybe at this point it might be good for us to transition and say, well, what do they do, right? We say they exchange equations. Right now, they do propagation. Then the road, we're going to add basically not just data in flight, but data at rest, which is memory, memory that can be updated, like say random access memory on your computer. But what does it look like? Like, you know, do you get a performance boost, or do you only just get, you know, this decentralization? And very often also people think that decentralization and performance are sort of at odds with each other. You know, actually our first discussion of this type was with Nicholas and Kishori about the trilemma, right, where we try to deconstruct the trilemma. So Saj, do you want to show us what it looks like?
Sure.
Thank you.
So performance. So there are many aspects to that, obviously, but I can sort of go through one.
Yeah.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, great. So what we can see here is on the top right, MEM-P2P protocol, which is the protocol that we developed at Optimum based on RLNC, propagating block payload on Ethereum throughout the network over 40 plus location all around the world. And it's able to do that in 300 milliseconds at the moment. And this is not, how can I say, this is not the most intense benchmark data that we can achieve, actually. So this is a pretty conservative figure.
Well, it's
And
actually, it's real time, right? You just went on it, and this is what it gives you
right,
right now. We didn't
exactly.
cherry pick. We just went right now and picked it at a random point. Yeah.
Exactly. And we can see there is some noise here. So as you can see, that sort of skew the average. And so here you can see the same thing being measured, but on the libp2p pass, which is the gossip protocol of Ethereum. And you can see that we're more on the order of seconds, 2.4 seconds. So yeah, that's a big gap. And that is also a sort of testimony to what, incorporating good coding techniques into the P2P layer of a blockchain can help achieve. So we often talk about accelerating, scaling, increasing the performance, etc. of blockchain. One key aspect of that could just be improving on the peer-to-peer layer. So yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you. And as I mentioned to the team often, I love looking at our dashboard, which you just shared with us, Sajida, and seeing all the green. And I think you said that's like touching grass. I think this is endorphins.
Right.
Like it's all green. This is so nice. And just to maybe highlight, that was on Hoodie testnet, so it's it's not an internal testnet. It's a real bona fide.
In the wild.
It's in the wild. That's right. It's not grass that I grew in my kitchen. It's out Out in the wild, it's in the field. And of course, we're going to be going to mainnet in just a couple months or so. So,
Right.
um, we talked a little bit about, okay, um, roughly what is a flex node, what it supports. At this point, it supports our data acceleration, which we call non-P2P. We showed that it gives you a huge benefit, this one P2P, this network of flex nodes. We talked a little bit about who can run a flex node, but maybe we can talk a little bit more about the requirements from just a product point of view,
Yes.
of what it takes to connect here.
Yes. So, I mean, we touched on this. The flex side sort of trickles down to even the experience, the operator experience itself, where depending on the technical level in terms of skills or resources in terms of bandwidth and just ability to run it with like pretty good uptime or more opportunistically, um, who can run a flex node may vary a lot. So in terms of resource requirements, based on what we know currently, it is pretty lightweight. So we assume people are going to be able to run it on their laptop. We're going to push it so that it's even doable on a smartphone. That would be ideal. And then in terms of skill set, we have, I think we can mention that, Muriel, we have our plan of running an actual program, something that helps people learn the basic concepts that they need to know in order to run a flex node in the way that they see fit for their, day to day, and also the goals that they may have financially. And so whatever you put in this is what you're going to get, basically. And that maps even to how we see the economics of a flex node. Whatever you contribute to the system is the basis on how you're rewarded at the end of the day. Yeah.
No, absolutely. And thank you for mentioning our plans to have these basically flex node training, which will be open to anybody who wants to run a flex node. But the idea is it should be very, very light. It's mostly so that, walking people through just how do you install it, and
Right.
then just watching it run. So no, that's really great. And I wanted to also um, talk about the aspect about the financial goals. One of the things is the more flex nodes there are, the more chains we can put, the more networks, and not just chains, but also different participants in chains. Like right now, we have really concentrated to start with validators on Ethereum. Like you were showing our hoodie testnet, it's basically that's who it's geared towards. But we've also started working with block builders, who also can really take advantage of acceleration to benefit their operations. And then we'll go into other chains, right, as we mentioned. So, of course, more flex nodes means that more chains and also more participants in different chains can join and get advantage, and then that leads to better value, which then enhances the economics for folks. And so people may choose to maybe make that flex node bigger, dedicate more resources, or maybe run more flex nodes, or new people may start running flex nodes.
Right.
So what we see is a virtuous cycle where there's demand that's coming because of value that's accrued to different L1s by different players in these L1s. And then as that value is accrued, it sort of creates a natural pull for more people to participate, whether it's participants participating more actively or new participants entering.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like this way of mapping it because it shows that there are many strategies also people can adopt. So it can be, for example, deciding to opt in on propagation topics that are related to an ecosystem or another or multiple. And you could even adapt it depending on the demand at a certain point in time on those propagation paths. And then it's sort of multiplied by all of the places in the world that you could be running a node, whether it's at your location or in a distant place. And so all of that creates sort of a multi-factor setup by which you can try to optimize basically the contribution impact that you can have on the network, which relates to the rewards as well. So I think that that's going to be a fun thing for many people that are oriented for strategy optimization to play with.
That's right. And, it could also be that you want to prioritize your neighborhood, your community, or, as you said, a particular ecosystem that you believe in and you want to really help out and accelerate. No, absolutely. So just, to try to kind of pull it together, how do we feel we're going to measure the success of Flexnodes, just to cap our conversation?
Right.
To me, the success is if people are using it and people are benefiting from it from the point of view of, the validators, the block builders, the MEV searchers, the users in the end, through lower gas fees, faster service for whatever they're trying to do. And on the other side, if our Flexnode operators are seeing the rewards and they go, "This is great, I'm getting rewarded and I feel good about what I'm doing. I'm actually providing a service that people find intrinsically valuable." So that's how I say it, but I'd love to hear your takes,
Yeah.
Sajida.
Yeah. So I think for me, it's gonna be how we impact the user experience in the end, because most of the direct user of Optimum and Flex nodes are going to be protocols or maybe dApps, and in the end the value is for the end user. And right now the big focus in blockchain is how do we get to this level of maturity where everything is like sub 200 millisecond, and we're able to have the greatest user experience in Web3, such as what we experience usually in Web2 from a latency perspective. And so if Optimum is able to impact that and move it in the right direction, that would be a great success. From a Flexnode operator perspective, I would say how much people are getting back from their contribution is going to be a big aspect. It would be easy to create this type of service and just do it in a centralized way. It would be fast and be performant, but that's not the idea. The idea is that we support and enable blockchains and decentralized systems and protocol in general grow. And there is a big component of that, which is the community. So there is a model here that we're also trying to prove, which is can we create a sustainable marketplace here where people contribute and have an incentive to keep contributing that is matching also the demand on the other side, who's actually seeing benefits from that latency or otherwise improvements, could be also on the memory aspect. So that's going to be a pretty exciting sort of experiment to see unfold in the next coming months.
Yes, and we'll be doing that together. So looking forward to it. Thank you so much, Sajida. This was a fun conversation. I hope that people who look at this online also find it interesting and engaging. And yeah, we'll be having more of these. Thank you so much.
Thank you.